up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and this is so exciting. If y'all could have heard my reaction when they were like, oh, would you want to interview Lisa? I said, yes, absolutely. I was like, whatever day we need to do it, I will be there. But Lisa is here alongside her best friend slash manager slash also an artist, Toni Menage.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I asked her to step into the interview, too, because you played such a big part in Lisa's life, which, you know, me growing up, like, listening to Lisa in the 80s, you don't know anything about what's going on behind the scenes. We know the music, and we know Cult Jam, we know Full Force, but this biopic that's out now on Lifetime really helped put things into perspective to see how it all happened.
Which is what we really, really wanted to do. We wanted to focus on who Cult Jam was, because they were never in the front lines. Everybody thought the Full Force was Cult Jam.
Right, they did.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion around that. We would get that,
Absolutely.
the guys from House Party, that's Cult Jam, right? And I'm like, no, that's not. That's for their separate group.
So that's why we focused on
this representing just them. I mean, everyone knows how legendary Full Force is.
Right.
They wrote these amazing songs and produced these amazing songs that gave us Lisa. But you know, I think we both, when we sat down at the table with Twinkie, we just decided, you know what, let's represent the group.
Yes.
So people kind of have, people hear with their eyes. So now they'll know
see
that
it.
those two guys, Mike and Alex, that's Cult Jam.
Because I learned a lot about that from watching. Yeah. And, you know, you talk about Twinkie, and I know, Lisa, you said Twinkie was in your DMs. Like, when are we doing this story?
She goes, I know you. I love you. We need to tell your story. Please allow me. My father was a teacher in Julia Richmond. And I was like, oh, okay. No. But like 5 years later, and she would come into my DMs like maybe once or twice a month, you know, for 5 years. And then Toni came in to my DMs and acted like it was me.
Right. That's good.
And
she said, she is you, really.
We took over the social to make sure, you know, clean it up and get it right. And so, you know, we go in and check out, you know, the DMs sometimes. And Twinkie was in there, and I was like, yeah, we want to make a movie. Let's make a movie.
When she told me, I said yes. I agreed to it. My face.
Did you sign something? Because you know we had contract issues before. We don't want to go.
Right.
My answer was, does anybody want to know my life?
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, I think sometimes you don't understand the impact that you had. Even for me as a kid, you know, growing up, because we can talk about you really setting the trend. I'm from Brooklyn. You're from Hell's Kitchen.
Yes.
But growing up in New York, you know, we were very into obviously R&B.
Yes.
Hip hop was, it was still early-ish, you know, for that. But your genre of music was different. It was also R&B. It also was very, I think music really brings people together.
Yes.
And for you being Puerto Rican and doing what you were doing, it's not even something we thought about. I learned que sera from you.
Que sera, yeah.
I used to say that all the time just from listening to your music, you know, but it wasn't even anything that you really think about. It just existed.
Yeah.
You know, and so for you to be able to cross over into all these different genres, that's not an easy thing to do.
No, it wasn't. And back then, I didn't focus on any of that. I just wanted to sing. So come on, let's do this. I kept, you know, we kept it pushing. And now that everybody says that to me, I'm like, okay, thank you, I'll take it.
And everybody talks about how humble and how nice you are and how kind your spirit is. That's also not easy when you've been famous for a long time. And you've been through a lot, because you meet people who get so jaded and you've been through so much, you know, just to see you still being like a good, kind person, that's also not an easy thing.
Thank you. I think I had good grounding, good raising. My mom, she kept me on the straight and narrow. Come home, you got to do the dishes, you got to wash the clothes, you got to clean the floor, you got to do it. She kept me grounded, and there was 10 of us. I'm the youngest of 10.
Yeah. So
we had to do our chores, and we all helped her, you know, take care of it. She was raising 10 on her own. I think that the fight that she put to make sure that her 10 children, you know, live their dream, that's my strength.
So let's get into the story, because I know some people have seen it. It came on over the weekend.
Yes.
And can you feel the beat? The Lisa story. And if you haven't seen it, you know, people know some of your story, but we're going to give some things up now.
Sure.
So when you first got signed, right, you were a teenager. You were still in high school.
Yes, 15. I didn't know anything. Nothing. I just wanted to sing. Snuck into the fun house and met one of the guys from Cult Jam, my cues. And he said, come to this audition. And I did.
You know what I wanted to ask you, because there were some tinges of it throughout. Did you ever feel, because beautiful, young underage girl in this industry of sharks and a lot of men, surrounded by a lot of men, how was that for you, and how did you learn how to navigate that early on?
It was not easy. I didn't learn how to navigate it till later on when I met Toni, because she's the one who's taught me how to say no, and I found my voice. Say no. It was difficult. I come from a family of 10, and there's 10 of us. I'm the youngest, but there's 7 women and 3 guys.
Right.
So, I tried. Everything was about just press on, move on. It was the 80s. Boys Club. Music industry was definitely, still is too, run by men, and it was difficult to get my point across. It was about an arm, a hand over your shoulder, and shh, be quiet, don't speak.
Right.
That kind of thing.
And did you ever, so you left school, you dropped out of school?
No? I stayed in school.
So you stayed in school,
Yeah,
okay.
no, I stayed in school, but I also had tutors on the road.
Okay. Because some things we don't get to see in the whole...
You don't get to see everything.
You don't get to see how
90 minutes.
Yeah. I
It's
couldn't
hard
fit everything
to get
in.
it all. And I know you're also doing a book, right?
I absolutely am. Yes, so everything will be in that bad boy. I'm gonna speak my truth.
Thank God. How far along are you with this book?
Hopefully it'll be finished. I have so much to say. I hope to have it done by the end of the year. I hope. My fingers are crossed.
And what made you decide now? Because like you said, you've always been not really like putting your life out there. Okay.
Toni, she was like, come on, you gotta tell your story. People want to hear it. And I said, what do they want to know? I love to sing. That's all I want people to know. And go ahead, speak your piece.
I think it's important, and I've repeated this a few times, I think it's important that we give her flowers and her due credit now while she's here, to appreciate it. And I think for me, it was very important to do this movie now because, Selena had a great movie and it gave J-Lo a huge career.
Right.
But she wasn't here to be part of her project. So having Lisa on set
every day,
with the cast, talking to them and them getting information from her outside of the research that they did on their own was priceless. It created a family environment. The movie was shot in a few weeks. It wasn't, we didn't have months to shoot this. So, we're on set 16-hour days, even when she's out of character because she plays her mom in the movie.
Yeah, that's right. I really get, I was saying, we talked about this before the cameras came on. Angie Martinez is in this, and she's playing a nurse.
Yes, I love you, Angie. Thank you.
I told Angie, I said, I screamed when I saw you on the screen. I was so excited. Ed Lover's in here also.
Yes.
He had a cameo.
Yes.
And then you played your mom.
I did.
How did you prepare for that, and how did you feel after you saw yourself?
I remember when we went into hair and makeup, and when the eyebrows got on, when they put those eyebrows on, I was like, oh, she's here. She's here. Because they made me look exactly like her. It was scary, but it was therapeutic for me. Seeing my life through her eyes and everything that she went through. The first scene was killer for me. That was killer for me, because to remember that, she had to pull me out of the scene for a minute while we were filming. I was bawling. Just to remember all of that.
Your father was abusive.
Yes.
And then we didn't see him again. So have you ever
I never had a relationship with my father.
Okay.
That's actually how I met my father. I met my father when I walked in. I heard my mom whimpering, and when I walked into the apartment, she was pinned to the kitchen window, and he was abusing her, beating her. And we always, living in Hell's Kitchen, you kept the bat by the door. So I took that bat, and I actually connected. Boom. And my mother's like, no, that's your father. I was like, really?
Yeah, this is my father. Keep him out of here.
Crazy. It was nuts.
What was the decision to open the movie with that? Because, like you said, that's a really tough emotional thing. But it caught your attention right away and kind of sets the stage for...
Yeah, basically how... I believe that needed to be shown, because then we're alone. My mom raised us all by herself. She had to get rid of that. We tried to pull her out of it, you know, the kids, all of us, we pulled her out of it. And then we went, you know, to another place, and we all had to work.
Right.
You know, we all had to put our part. I wanted them to see that. I wanted the audience to see that, definitely.
We also had a fantastic director.
Oh, my gosh.
Young,
she's amazing.
she's 30 years old. First of all, I just want to say that we had all brown women work on this project.
Nice.
It was very important that we had a Puerto Rican writer and, you know, that women worked on this film because of the content. But Talia is phenomenal, and she directed this film, and it became a personal project for her. You know, the first cut that we sat through, it was 2 hours, and she was like, I pray that the network lets me keep this. I know they're not. They're going to cut at least 30 minutes of this film. There was so much more in there.
Yeah.
Tell me what got cut so I could get an idea of some things that you wish would have made it in. But
I mean, I think the things that got cut were conversations.
No, but I don't think, you know, a lot of the audience is not going to finish listening to or be able to hear the rest of the conversation, because there was just so much more in a scene. They had to cut the scenes down.
That's tough. I know you were like each part.
Yeah, damn, I had so much more to say.
Now, there's also a part where one of the members of Cult Jam actually kind of like has you up against.
It's not Cult Jam. It's a manager.
Oh, that's the manager.
Yeah.
Okay, that was
a
the manager.
But it rep, you know, like she said, it was the 80s, and even me as a lesbian woman, you know, nobody was safe if
Listen,
in that time.
Exactly.
Right. Even today.
Yeah,
let's be
you had
clear,
to,
like, you know, depending on. But yes, I think hopefully things are getting better.
It absolutely is. I was able to take control of it all. You know, she showed me the way. Like, again, when I met Toni, my angel, I want to smack you, but I love you so much.
Shut up.
She taught me, she showed me my voice. She said, come on, don't let this happen. You know, but again, the 80s boys club, you know, everybody tried to get their feel, and I'm just happy that I came through that. I'm here today to speak on it. And
I was watching that. I was like, Lord, please don't let this go.
Oh, there was a lot more that wasn't shown.
I feel like it had to be.
That was one of the scenes that, was cut.
Because that's why I was asking it, because I feel like it probably was more than that. But, you know.
I feel like it was enough, right? Because we didn't want to take away from the impact that she made in this industry by having people focus on the trauma, right? Because we're addicted to trauma now. It's all in our feed constantly, and so we've become almost immune to the idea that these things happen. There was a time where you would be terrified when you saw certain things, and now it's normal to us. It's become normal to see it come up. It's terrible. We've been desensitized to traumas. So it was just, we wanted to keep it classy. We wanted to keep the focus on her story, the friendship between us, the relationship between her and Cult Jam. And I think that we accomplished that with this film.
We absolutely did.
And Toni, I want to get to your part in this too as well. Breezy plays you.
Man.
She does a phenomenal. I love Breezy.
I love you, Breezy.
She did a phenomenal job playing your character. So you came into this having some knowledge of having had a record deal.
Yes.
Well, this is your real life. So
yes.
And so you had a terrible deal. I think you said you got $200.
I put out a record called Video Burnout in 1983. I was 14. They recorded me without any adults around. They wrote me a check for $200, endorsed it, and gave me the cash. And that's what I made for that song. And it's still an underground dance hit today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I learned. But the thing about me is you're only going to get to dupe me once because I'm prideful.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah, I'm prideful, so I'm not going to allow you to make me look stupid twice. So... You know, I started asking questions and, you know, reading up and talking to people. And so by the time I got to Lisa, I was 17. And Lisa was very afraid, you know. I'd be like, that don't sound right. She'd be like, shh, Toni, don't say nothing.
She's like, I'm not trying to have to go back to bagging groceries.
Yeah. She's
exactly.
like, don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, Toni. She's still like that now.
No.
She's like, well, you know. But all right, we'll get to that also in a second, what you're like now. But what did you think, your younger self, when you first met Lisa? Because in the movie, she has a very sweet, nice interaction with you. I want to know what your thoughts were when you first met her. Because sometimes you could look at somebody like that and be like, you know, what's she going to be like? Is she a mean girl?
Lisa's consistently been a sweetheart for the last 40 years that I've known her. Almost to, in my opinion, to a fault, right? Because people see that as a way to get in and take advantage. I feel like this movie represents how, because I think they think, you know, when you're a lesbian or you live that life, that you want to sleep with all women. I hope that they understand that this friendship had nothing to do. There was not. It was never even a thought. We literally built a sisterhood instantly, and I think it's because we were the only 2 women on the tour, and we found comfort and safety in hanging out together and talking and singing in the back of the bus, and you know.
Yeah, she was my blanket, man. Right. She made me feel comfortable. You know, she
taught me how to do makeup.
I had to
shave your legs.
And that's for real. You know, that's really for real. I was like,
I remember the first time I shaved my legs, it didn't go well.
No, because I was always afraid of cutting myself.
I cut myself all. Yeah. My shin where the bone is.
See, men don't have to go through that.
I didn't know.
Men don't have to go through that
at all. But she was a beast, and I told her, "Come on, you have to take care of that situation." Handle that. That's
I was like, why I gotta do this?
Y'all needed each other, though.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, just as much as Lisa needed you, Toni, you needed her also.
I needed her. I mean, I was rough around the edges. You know, the movie, like, I was a pill. I'm like, when I think back to younger me, I was like, damn, you had to deal with you. But Lisa,
I got stories.
She gave me she softened me up in ways where I needed it. And later on, it worked for my life. When I started interacting with people and running my own companies, that growing experience with her was, you know, she just taught me how to be a kinder. I didn't have to be so hard all the time.
Right. And you told her, be a little more hard.
Yeah, and you need to be a little more rough.
Yeah, she did.
She's a happy medium here.
Yeah. Nice balance.
And your father, you know, that was depicted in the movie as well, Toni. That was, I mean, what is your relationship with him, or what happened after that? Was there ever any?
So, my father died in prison years back. I'm a product of rape, so I happened to meet my father, but you know, my mother was 13 when she had me.
Wow.
So, you know, I didn't know she was my mother. I thought she was my sister. She was being raised as my sister. So when all this truth came out as a teenager, and I finally met him, like any other child, I was trying to cling to him and build a relationship, but he was from the streets, and so what he saw that as was an opportunity to use me to do other things. You know, hold drugs, sell drugs. You know, you get high with me and then you tell me to go to my room, and then I'm like, what? This don't work. So we had that kind of relationship. I loved him like any kid. You know, I tell people all the time, you have children, your children love you with a clean slate. You could be anything. You ruin it. You turn it into whatever you're going to turn it into.
Amen.
And I still love him. I mean, you know, whatever his traumas were, his story was, I'm sure it was, you know, traumas passed on. So I'm not angry with him. I don't blame him. But, you know, his life technically ended up in his demise. And, you know, and that's the cycle. I'm fortunate enough to have had Lisa save my life, because getting into that tour changed the direction that I was going in. It could have split up and gone either way.
Right.
But this tour, you know, and I thank Full Force for giving me that opportunity. I thank Cult Jam. I thank Lisa. But this friendship was built as a result of that one audition, which I wasn't even supposed to be at.
She came in there, killed it real fast.
Yeah,
she did.
I was smoking a cigarette. I was drinking. That's what
I
you
want
smoke
to tell
indoors.
that story. She walks in. I didn't see. We were having this discussion. Oh my God, we got to have another audition because I didn't find anybody, and blah 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 blah. And all of a sudden, this voice starts to come out, and it stopped me right in my tracks. And I listened, and then when I turn around, I see this thing. It looked like a boy. She had a hat to the back. She had a bubble jacket on, a beer in one hand and a cigarette in the other, and she's blowing.
I didn't put the cigarette out.
She didn't.
They, you know.
She was like this with the beer
Just
and
take me as I am.
and was blowing, and I was like, oh my God, that's what I want. And the reaction that I got from everybody else, I was like, I don't care. I ran after her.
Right.
You know,
and they let you, because the thing is, it was a very controlling situation. You were the only woman before that, and it felt like they were making all the decisions, even writing the music, giving it to you. But you knew that was something you had to make happen, and they actually did.
Yeah.
Even though they tried to kick you out the,
you know how many times they tried to
kick out? They kicked me out a couple of times.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was a pill. I was 17. I was raw. I you talk crazy to me, I talk crazy back,
But that didn't bother me because I came from a family of 10.
Right.
I'm the youngest of 10 of them. And I had some rough brothers. Rough
Thank
brothers.
God.
Yeah, my oldest brother.
That helped you out, right?
Yeah, he did 3 tours in the Vietnam War. So when he came back, oh God, he was a pill.
Yeah,
So I was used to that.
But that whole neighborhood knew not to mess with you.
Oh, they didn't. They didn't. Hell's
Kitchen.
That
helps.
No, that's Raymond's little sister. Don't mess with me.
Yeah, she embraced me like there was no,
Absolutely.
where I would walk into certain environments, I was used to being judged and I was already that's where the hardest, I was defensive. I was ready to defend myself constantly because I had to. She never made me feel like I had to defend myself to her.
Never.
I was.
Toni has the heart of gold. She really,
Don't tell
really
people
does.
that.
I have to.
Then they think
Be
they can
quiet.
take
This is my
advantage of me.
experience. She has a heart of gold. She really, really does. And she loves to take care of people. She has such a maternal personality as people cling to her. So that was all. To me, we shed that away. Mm-hmm. We shed that out.
What did you think when Lisa got married?
I told her, what I say? I said, if you marry this dude, I'm wearing a tux to your wedding.
And she did.
And I did.
How old were you when you got married, Lisa?
Oh my God, I was almost turning 20. I was 19, turning 20.
I know everybody was like, don't do it.
They did. My family said, don't do it. My mother was like, you don't need to marry this kid. Mm-hmm. I'm like, but I love him. And I think
that's a kid thing too, when we're kids, but I love him.
You think but listen.
I wanted to be grown.
Yeah.
But I think that's the innocence of Lisa. Lisa
right.
is, and I feel like Jernest,
oh my
who
God,
is fantastic, the young lady that plays her.
Jernest Cochado.
The most important thing was that whoever played Lisa had to look like Lisa. I was like,
she looked just like you.
People hear with their eyes.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you do a biopic about an artist, you have to have 2 things: a visual that draws people in, and the music.
Amen.
Those 2 things are super important. And Jernest, man, she had just enough innocence to play the soft, beautiful Lisa that we know, and just enough fire to represent the hurdles that she had to jump and the strength that she had to build throughout the film. And I feel like she captured that all the way.
She is
amazing. That iconic pink outfit.
Man.
That's the iconic.
Man, when she walked out with that outfit,
we were like,
I was in
whoa.
tears. She walked out, I'm like, oh my God, they did it.
Yeah, costume, hair, and makeup did their thing with this film.
They did.
Even with pictures, I've seen people like looking at pictures of it and saying like, this brings me back, this is so 80s.
Yeah.
So amazing times. Now, gotta ask you also about breast cancer. This was something that I didn't even know until, way later. And you got to think back then we didn't have like social media.
We had nothing.
We didn't have that peeking into people's lives to know what's going on. I can't imagine what that must have been like for you, being tired all the time, having to be on tour, get up, let's go, not taking a break. I mean, talk to us about that, because you were only, 21 years old when you got diagnosed with breast cancer?
20, yeah. I remember when I was told that I had the breast cancer, I was like, the only thing that I was focusing on was my mother. My mother went through so much, just to see her pick herself up, wipe those tears away, and keep going. And she always had a smile on her face. That's what I thought about. I was like, I don't want anybody to be able to take away what I worked so hard for. I want to keep doing it. I was afraid that it was going to pull that right from under me. I got reactions from the guys, why are you always sleeping? Why are you tired? Are you pregnant?
Yeah, that's the first thing they're going to think, that you're pregnant.
Yeah, right? I was asked so many times, are you pregnant? Because I was swelling at one point, and I used to cover the pack underneath my clothes. And it was hard, But all I wanted to do was get through it and continue to perform because that's all I've ever wanted to do.
You know, the blessing is that you found out early, that you actually went to the
Yes,
doctor
yes.
when something was wrong and you saw something and you went to find it. Because imagine not finding out. You know, the earlier you find out, the better it is for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I saw those bruises and I was like, why am I feeling so uncomfortable?
Right.
You know, and they found 6 tumors. And I was like, I got to do this immediately. Let me go. I couldn't tell my mother. I was so afraid that she was going to pull me off the road as well. I didn't want to give her any more to deal with.
Right.
And then the guys, you know, I didn't want them to.
And
to
there
pull
you were
me out.
dealing with it by yourself.
Yes. Every day. I had the greatest oncologist and the nurse to whatever city they had. I handed them the schedule of whatever we were doing, and they would make sure in whatever city they would find a hospital where I could go and get filled or get treatment there. We would get to the city at 6 a.m. By 7, I was in. I didn't let anybody know.
And then eventually, was Toni the first person you told?
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
She was. When I told my mother, it was years after that.
Wow. You waited years?
Yes. You know, she never knew. And then, you know, one day I decided to tell her because I started working with Sloan Kettering and doing, you know, all that work. And she was like, well, why are you working with these people? And I had to tell her.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I know she felt like, I can't even imagine you going through that without telling
anyone.
You know, because people want to support you and be there
Well,
for
she
you, but we
cried.
understand the journey.
She cried and she was like, I would have been there for you. And I was like, you had too much to deal with. And I wanted to continue my career. I didn't want anybody to take it away from me. And that would have.
Right. And, you know, not to mention that you bought your mom a house.
Yeah.
You bought her a car.
Yeah.
And we think about your deal, right? Because there was a lot of conversations about what was in that contract, what was in that deal.
I mean, who knows? You know,
They said you couldn't get married.
I couldn't do nothing.
You couldn't have a relationship.
Nothing.
Like you couldn't drive fast cars. Like
Nothing.
It was all kinds of things.
It was a bunch of crazy stuff. I couldn't make any move without their say. Anything that I said or did, went, people I hung out with, my family had to go through them.
To hang out with you?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I'm here today, guys.
Yeah,
I'm
listen,
alive.
We
Thank
are,
you.
and happily so, because work never stopped for you. Because I think people also have to understand with Lisa, even after Lisa and Cult Jam broke up, you still as an individual have been making amazing moves too.
Yes.
And that's a blessing also.
Thank you. I remember when I decided to sever ties, I had already in my head, I'm going to do this. So I started writing out a contract on yellow notebook paper. I started doing that, and then I put together some music, and I went to a record label. I went to somebody who I worked with in the past on Columbia. I went to Ruben Rodriguez, and I said, I need a record deal. And he was like, oh, absolutely. And
That's good.
I signed that deal, but I gave him the yellow notebook. It was funny. I had it rolled up and tied with rubber band, and I took it out of my pocket, and I said, here, this is what I want. And he was like, okay, so you know what you got to do now? Go get a lawyer and have them reprint this, write it correctly, and then you come back to me, okay, with that lawyer, and we'll sign it. And that's what I did.
I saw that also recently you said you were going to re-record your music, right?
Yes.
So talk to me about that, because we've been hearing a lot about people re-recording classic albums.
Well, what I want to do is we just released All Cried Out in Salsa, and it's called No Lloraré Más. It's on all platforms. And I love it. Everybody's been asking me, why haven't you done any Spanish music? And I'm like, I had to do it right. I didn't want to sell out. I had to make sure that it was done right. Toni was beautiful enough to find me the right producers, you know, and we did it. So now what I want to do is re-record some of my hits in Spanish.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
It's another lane, you know.
Yeah,
Listen,
absolutely.
It goes. I just want to say, All Cried Out. Such a classic song. Great to do at karaoke too. Still. My favorite part of that song, and I think the most powerful part, is when you say "apology not accepted."
Yes.
Because that is something that we all need to say sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Apology not accepted. Add me to the broken hearts you've collected. I do not want to be a notch on your string. Let it go.
How did you relate to songs like that? Especially when you first came out, too, being so young.
I know, I was a kid. What the hell did I know?
Yeah.
But I related because I think I really feel that I had to grow up early. I had to grow up fast.
Right.
Because
Hell's Kitchen will have you growing up fast too.
Oh yeah, and I love Hell's Kitchen, my hometown. Yes.
We're here now.
Yeah. Right down the block from where I used to live. I just feel that because I had to grow up so early, and I came from a family of 10, and we helped my mom, to take care of us. Those were questions that we were all asking already, So I definitely related to that because I was able to sit back and watch my brothers and sisters go through all what they went through. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I want to do this. And, I'm not hanging out with that one. So it taught me. I learned.
Now, this wasn't in the movie, but I want to ask, when your husband, because you did get married, left, right? He took all his stuff and got out. What happened after that? Like, did y'all have I know you didn't have a prenup.
No.
So what happened? Did he try to come after any of your money? Like,
he did.
Okay, I figured that.
He tried.
I was upset when you got married. I was like, I know she didn't do no prenup because she didn't also sign her contract with a lawyer. So I knew that wasn't happening. So I was like, please don't let him take all her money.
He didn't. He tried. He definitely tried. But I have 3 big brothers, and he definitely was not able to. And that's the truth.
And after that, because, going through things like that at a young age, like you said, you were so young when you first got married, you were on the road. There were a lot of things going on that it makes it hard to trust people.
Yeah. I'm afraid of that still to this day.
To this day.
You never know who's there for you. And that's, again, I thank God that I have her because she's the one who's constantly, come here. She's pulling me out of the ear.
We argue a lot. It's so funny because
Yeah.
when our crew from the tour, our Tour Life family saw the movie, they were like, y'all still do this all the time.
We still do the same thing.
She'll be mad, stop telling me what to do. I'm a grown woman. And I'll be like, oh, man. Get in the argument. She slams the door. People think Lisa's like this sweet, quiet little thing.
But I am.
Yeah, except when it comes to you, because she could be herself around.
Yes. She's bossy.
I'm not. But if I got to throw a brush at you, I will.
So how did you find love again after that? Like, how was that for you?
Just, I think because it always comes back to Toni, man. Toni, she helped me find my voice. And it was from her that I learned that it's okay to say no, it's okay to cry, and it's okay to love. Mm-hmm. So I met my children's father. We hung out a lot. He used to dance for me. And we became really good friends. And after 3 years of hanging out, it just happened. We had babies.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's good. We love happy stories.
Thank you.
And then you also played on Taina.
I did. I played the mom. So cute.
That was a vibe too.
Oh, thank you. We were the first Latino family on TV.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, we were the first. And it was great.
You broke down a lot of doors. Do you feel like people even realize just all the things that you represented?
No.
She doesn't. She's really not aware of herself. I told her, I said, when you see the movie, when you're watching it, I want you to look at the impact from another perspective.
Right.
She's so humble and so not aware.
I know I am. Really, I don't focus on anything like that. It's just my happiness comes from me being able to do what I love to do, and that's to sing. I love to sing. I may sound redundant. I know Nancy looking at me. Whatever.
When did your kids realize what a big deal you are?
Recently, because when they were babies, I took them on the road with me a little bit. But now that they're 20 and 18, they're like, "Damn, Ma," because their friends' parents are like, "We love your mother," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they knock on my door. Can we take pictures with you? And I'm like, I'm in a robe. So yeah, my kids know now.
But listen, I'm so excited to have you here. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about was just as when you broke up with Cult Jam, and that was coming to an end, right? What happened? Like, how did you just sever things? Because I know it got a little confusing with Full Force.
Right.
There was Cult Jam. People were like, okay, who's in it? And then I know you were really the face that they were pushing. And that's not good for men's egos, or really anybody's egos, in general, to feel like
it was
like, let's do the interview, but we just want Lisa, or
that was really hard for them, and I felt that, man, because I was like, no, we're a band, we got to do this together. But the producers and management were like, they want to see you, they want to talk to you. But we cleaned that up in the years. As we went on as a group together. But the day I decided to sever ties, it was because, I had to fight to get other producers on the last album that I did with them, Straight Outta Hell's Kitchen. I was like, can I work with Clavillis and Cole? Please, I want to do this. And it was a fight. So I brought in Clavillis. I set up a meeting and, come on, guys, let me do this. And the only way they were going to do that is if they did one half of the album, and then Clavillis and Cole were able to do the second half of the album. I thought that was dumb, but it worked. And it was just really, really difficult. I felt stifled. I wanted to continue on making music. And the record label was being really tough on me. So I was like, please, just let me go. I'll do whatever I have to do. Just let me go from this contract. And thank you, God, they did. And I sat the guys down. And I said, I just have to go. I gotta go. I gotta pursue my career. I gotta pursue my dreams. There's things that I want to do. Yeah. And it was good. It was an okay thing. We all cried. We all hugged, and I moved on.
Right.
Yes.
No, because y'all had a great run. I
Yes,
mean, all
we
the
sure
number one
did.
songs, top 40 hits.
Yes, thank
what
you.
get to see and experience in the movie. I feel like this could be a Broadway play too. Nothing for
From
nothing.
your mouth to God's ears, that's a plan. Let's do this. Come on, anybody want to come up and do this with me? Please.
Because just seeing it, I mean, it was, just the time period, the hit songs, the
Thank
woman
you.
that is the face of this but doesn't have the power that she should have as far as making decisions. The
Yes.
best friend who in the 80s is a lesbian and they
My
keep on trying to
gosh.
push her out of the way. I mean, there's just so many different things.
She needed to be seen, and now we're getting her seen because she deserves that. She
that-
definitely does.
And I think even back then, that is like something that, it wasn't something that people were very accepting of.
they weren't.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Oh no, it was.
At all.
I honestly just, it's so funny because Breeze is one of my favorite people. Fast, like she's just an amazing, amazing actor, amazing artist. But she said something the other day. She said that playing my role made her feel seen. And that made me feel honored. I was honored by it.
Yes.
And
Beautiful.
the first, like, this relationship inside of this iconic artist movie represents, my character represents a whole group of people, a whole group of lesbian in the community that weren't seen and weren't heard in that time.
Yeah.
It was taboo. So I'm honored to have her represent. I'm a fan. Imagine you want to make a movie about your life, and on the first pick you get exactly who you want to play
that was the
you.
first
It was
pick.
you. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
She
I
fought.
I fought.
She
I
fought
called
for
out.
her.
I was harassing Twinkie. I was like, did you clear her schedule? Did she clear her schedule? What?
And then she
know?
kept sending other auditions, and she said, yeah, Breeze. What about Breeze?
I was like, they're great.
Let's do this.
They're great.
Yes.
Is Breezy available?
Yeah.
I knew
Imagine,
what I
yeah.
wanted, and I told Breeze. I said, I think I willed you. Yeah.
And then you were able to eventually start writing too, right? Because I know that was something you wanted to
Yeah.
have some input into the music.
Absolutely, absolutely. It took forever, and then years later, they let me write one song.
What?
And I was like, can I write more? And it was like, you relax. I wrote one song, Someone to Love Me for Me. And after I severed ties with them and I started to pursue my own thing, I started writing my own music.
Right. That's empowering.
Yeah,
Right there.
absolutely. And it's, oh my God. It's so, what is the word I'm trying? It's nurturing, and it's like eating chocolate.
It's like it's like healing too.
Yes.
And Someone to Love Me for Me, I know you grew up singing in a church, and it gives me that
Yes.
type of feeling.
Exactly. Gospel.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I started when I was 6 years old, and to see my mom when she gave me my first soul, because my mom was the director of the choir, and they were all women, all Latin women, and it was, we would call Las Hijas de Maria, Mary's daughters, and she gave me my first solo, 6 years old, and it was Ave Maria, and I sang that for her. She started tearing, and I was like, I want to do this. This is a reaction that I want. That feeling filled me up.
Well, I feel like once everybody's been watching this movie all weekend, and they're going to continue to watch it, but I feel like this is also going to clearly give you a significant spike in everything that's been going on streaming services, on everything that you have. I know you're going to be doing shows coming up too.
Absolutely.
And you've been selling out shows. We saw the Radio City scene. I can't wait. If you haven't seen it, that's such an impactful scene.
Yeah.
But how has it been for you already now with everybody getting ready to see, well, when they were getting ready to see it and now that they've seen it? How's that for you?
Oh, it's crazy. I was so nervous. But now that it's out, it's so warming. It's like, wow, people really did want to see my life.
Mm-hmm. I was excited. I told you I was excited as soon as I seen it. I think when the news came out, I was up here like, guess what? They're doing a Lisa movie on Lifetime. And I'm excited to see it. And I'm so happy to meet both of you. I feel like Toni's got a story she needs to tell too.
At some point, I think
that's the plan.
I'm gonna tell it, and then we're gonna work on it together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm grateful. It's so funny because I'm used to being on the other side of this, and you know.
No, I want to her to do it. Now she's telling you like,
she
and now she's
front.
like, you know,
Yes.
even our
Come
publicists,
on.
they're like, "Yo, sit down. You're talented today. You're not
So now you're talent. You don't work.
Right. So,
I was surprised her. Like, can you please sit down? And she was like, okay.
Yeah.
shout out to our publicists, J. Miggs, Nancy,
Yeah,
Joe.
Nancy and Joe.
We love them very much.
Thank
They have done a fantastic job
They
with
have.
helping Lifetime promote this thing, and it's been a whirlwind, right?
Oh, it's been so
amazing.
much fun.
Well, congratulations, and I cannot wait to read the book.
Oh, thank you.
She's like, oh.
I'm gonna let it all out.
I cannot wait because I know. I mean, just even from watching this movie, I could read underneath like the layers and know that there's a lot more.
Thank you.
That
Thank you.
obviously they couldn't do it justice in an hour and a half, but they did a fantastic job. So congratulations! You
Thank
should be
you
so
so
proud of
much.
yourselves.
Thank you
so
for
much.
inviting me
Yes,
to be on the
and
show.
I want you to
Appreciate
know
you.
that I'm your biggest fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Stop.
and God bless you. Continued
See,
success.
she's so nice. I can't take it.
No. She was excited about this.
Yeah, they said, Angela, yes. And what? Oh, man.
That's what I said. All right. Well, thank you so much, both of you.
Thank
I
you, Mama.
appreciate it.
Thank
Make
you
sure
so
if you
much.
haven't seen it, and if you have watched it, check it out again. Lisa on Lifetime. Can you feel the beat?
Yeah.
It's way up.